many people are out here waiting for success to land in their lap. They want to be great, but they don't want to grind for it. Let me tell you something. Mastery isn't something you're born with, and it's not something you just wake up with one day. It's built, it's earned, it's forged through sweat, sacrifice, and relentless effort. You don't become the best by wishing for it. You become the best by showing up every single day, putting in the hours, and refusing to settle for average. You don't get to the top by taking shortcuts. You don't master anything without going through the process, without embracing the grind, the late nights, the early mornings, the failures, the setbacks. People see greatness and they admire it, but they don't see the work behind it. They don't see the countless reps, the mistakes, the losses, the days when you feel like quitting, but push forward anyway. Mastery isn't about natural talent, it's about consistency. The people who dominate in their field aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who refused to stop, the ones who kept refining their craft even when nobody was watching, even when they didn't feel like it, even when they were exhausted. You want to be great? You want to master your craft? Then stop looking for the easy way out. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for motivation. Mastery is built on discipline, and discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means putting in the work when it's not fun, when it's not exciting, when nobody's clapping for you, because that's what separates the great from the average. The ability to do what needs to be done regardless of how they feel. You can't just show up once in a while and expect to be great. You have to do it again and again and again. Champions aren't made in a day, and they don't get to the top because they put in effort when they felt like it. They get there because they showed up every single day, whether they felt like it or not, whether they were tired, uninspired, or doubting themselves. Every skill, every craft, every ability, it all comes down to repetition. It's about putting in more reps than the next person. It's about doing it so much that it becomes second nature. The difference between average and elite isn't talent. It's hours, it's reps, it's the willingness to repeat the same thing over and over again until it's automatic, until you can do it in your sleep. If you're afraid of failure, you'll never reach mastery. Too many people quit the moment they face resistance. They hit a roadblock and they back down. They fail once and they decide they're not good enough. But failure is a test. It's the process separating those who really want it from those who just say they do. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity to get better. You can't let failure define you. You have to use it. Every time you mess up, every time you fall short, every time you don't hit the mark, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? How can I make sure I don't make the same mistake again? Because that's what mastery is. It's growth, it's evolution, it's refining your skills through trial and error. If you want to master something, you have to be willing to give things up. You can't be at the club every weekend and expect to be great. You can't binge watch TV all day and expect to be at the top of your game. Mastery demands sacrifice. It demands prioritization. It demands that you cut out distractions and stay locked in on your vision. Too many people want to be great, but they don't want to give up anything. They want to be at the top, but they don't want to make the hard choices. They don't want to say no to things that aren't pushing them forward. If you're serious about mastery, you need to ask yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice? Because the truth is, you can't have it all. You have to choose. And the ones who make it to the top, they choose mastery. They choose discipline. They choose to focus when everyone else is distracted. You can't achieve mastery if you're constantly surrounded by people who settle for mediocrity. You need to be around people who push you, who challenge you, who force you to level up. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the most motivated person in your circle, you need a new circle. Success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you surround yourself with. Energy is contagious. Mindsets are contagious. You want to master your craft? Get around people who are just as obsessed as you are. Get around people who hold you to a higher standard, who won't let you slack off, who won't let you settle. Mastery isn't something you achieve overnight. It's not a one-week journey. It's a lifelong commitment. Too many people start strong but fade out when they don't see results fast enough. But real mastery, it's about patience. It's about persistence. It's about being willing to keep going even when it feels like nothing is happening. You plant a seed today and you don't see the tree tomorrow, but just because you can't see the results doesn't mean they're not coming. Every bit of effort, every hour you put in, every small improvement, it's all adding up. The problem is most people quit before they see the fruits of their labor. They stop right before the breakthrough. But if you stay consistent, if you keep pushing, if you refuse to quit, you will see results. Most people want to be great, but they aren't willing to put in the years. That's the problem. They see someone at the top of their game and think, man, they're lucky or they were born with it. No, they weren't born with it. They built it. They earned it. And the only thing standing between you and mastery is time, discipline, and sacrifice. But here's the issue. You don't want to wait. You don't want to struggle for years before you start seeing results. You want it now. You want success on demand like it's fast food. But let me tell you something. Fast food success doesn't last. That quick and easy route, it fades, it crumbles. But the mastery that is earned through years of blood, sweat, and tears, that's permanent. So stop looking for shortcuts. Stop thinking there's some secret formula that's going to get you there faster. There is no shortcut to mastery. It's the work, it's the reps, it's the patience. And if you're not willing to commit to the long haul, you'll never reach the level you claim you want to be at. Let me tell you something. The people who master their craft aren't just interested in it. They're obsessed. They live and breathe it. They don't just work at it when it's convenient. They don't just do it when they're in the mood. It's a lifestyle. It's part of who they are. Think about the greats in any field. The best athletes, they aren't just practicing when the cameras are on. They're in the gym before the sun rises, putting in hours when no one's watching. The best musicians, they're not just playing their instrument when it's time to perform. They're practicing for hours every single day, mastering every note, every movement, every detail. You can't casually approach mastery. You can't treat it like a side hobby and expect to dominate. It has to be the thing that drives you, the thing you think about when you wake up, the thing you're willing to sacrifice for. If you're not obsessed, you're not serious. Let's get real for a second. This journey is going to hurt. You're going to struggle. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to fail over and over again. And most people, they can't handle that. They tap out. They run the moment things get hard. But the ones who master their craft, they embrace the pain. They use it. They let it fuel them instead of break them. Because pain is part of the process. Growth isn't comfortable. Success isn't easy. And if you're not willing to go through the tough times, you'll never make it to the top. Understand this. Every great person you admire has gone through the fire. They've dealt with failure. They struggled. They've been knocked down more times than they can count. But what makes them different is they didn't quit. They didn't let failure define them. They used it. So when you fail, and you will, don't take it as a sign to stop. Take it as a sign to push harder. Because every failure, every setback, every tough moment is just another step toward mastery. You want to be the best, then you have to do what most people aren't willing to do. You have to put in more hours, more effort, more sacrifice than the next person. Because here's the truth. There is always someone out there who wants what you want. Always. And if they're working harder than you, guess what? They're going to get it before you do. The world doesn't reward talent. It rewards work. It rewards the person who shows up every day, who outlasts the competition, who refuses to quit. So ask yourself, are you putting in the kind of effort that mastery requires? Are you truly grinding for it? Or are you making excuses? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to effort. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't put in the work, it means nothing. Most people quit because they don't see results fast enough. They put in work for a few months and expect to be at the top, and when they're not, they get discouraged. They think it's not meant for them. But let me tell you something. If you're serious about mastery, you need to be in it for the long haul. It takes years to build real skill. It takes years to reach the top. And if you're not willing to wait, if you're not willing to grind through the years of slow progress, then you don't deserve to be great. This isn't a quick process. You're going to spend months, even years, putting in work that no one will notice. You're going to be grinding in silence while everyone else is out having fun. You're going to wonder if it's worth it. But if you stay the course, if you keep pushing forward, even when it feels like nothing is happening, one day everything will click. One day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Most people never get there. They quit before the breakthrough. They give up right before they're about to see results. Don't be like them. Stay patient. Keep working. Keep moving forward. Because mastery is earned, not given. And if you're willing to put in the time, if you're willing to sacrifice, if you're willing to push through every obstacle, then one day you'll get there. Most people never reach mastery because they underestimate what it takes. They think they're working hard. They think they're giving it everything. But in reality, they're only scratching the surface of their potential. They're showing up when it's convenient, putting in effort when they feel like it, and then wondering why they're not getting results. Let me tell you why. You're not all in. Mastery requires a level of commitment that most people aren't willing to give. It's not just about working hard when you're motivated. It's about showing up when you're exhausted, when no one's watching, when there's no applause, no recognition, no guarantee of success. It's about grinding every single day, even when it feels like nothing is happening. You have to ask yourself, are you truly willing to sacrifice for this? Because that's what it takes, sacrifice. It means giving up comfort. It means saying no to distractions. It means choosing discipline over pleasure, consistency over convenience, progress over excuses. The reason most people don't reach the top isn't because they're not talented. It's because they're not willing to pay the price. Everyone wants success, but very few are willing to give up what's necessary to achieve it. They want to be great, but they don't want to give up their weekends, their free time, their social life. They want the rewards, but they don't want to endure the struggle. But here's the truth. Mastery comes with a cost. You don't get to the top without making sacrifices. You don't reach elite levels without giving up things that most people aren't willing to give up. So you have to decide, do you want to be average or do you want to be great? Do you want to live like everyone else or do you want to separate yourself from the pack? Because if you're serious about mastery, then you have to make tough choices. You have to prioritize your craft over temporary pleasures. You have to invest in yourself even when it feels like no one else believes in you. The difference between a beginner and a master isn't talent, it's repetition. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. They've put in thousands of hours, drilled the same skills over and over until they became second nature. Think about it. How do elite athletes reach the highest level? Reps. How do world-class musicians perform flawlessly? Reps. How do the best entrepreneurs build billion-dollar businesses? Reps. You don't get better by doing something once or twice. You don't develop mastery by practicing when you feel like it. You improve by doing it over and over, by perfecting the details, by embracing the monotony of relentless practice. Most people get bored. Most people stop when it gets repetitive. But the ones who push through, they're the ones who become great. Because true mastery isn't about doing something once. It's about doing it thousands of times until it becomes instinct. You say you want to be the best, then your actions have to back that up. You can't claim you want to reach the highest level while putting in half the effort. You can't expect elite results while working like everyone else. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. It rewards the person who is willing to do more, to go further, to push harder than everyone else. It rewards the person who is willing to go beyond what's expected, beyond what's comfortable, beyond what's normal. So ask yourself, does your work ethic match your ambition? Are you truly putting in the level of effort required to reach mastery? Or are you just talking about it? Because talking won't get you there. Dreaming won't get you there. Only work will. And if you're not willing to do the work, then you don't deserve the reward. Most people quit too soon. They start something, put in effort for a few months, and when they don't see immediate results, they give up. They convince themselves that it's not working, that they're not meant for this, that they should try something else. But let me tell you something, nothing worth having comes fast. The people who succeed, they're the ones who stick with it long enough to see results. They're the ones who push through the frustration, the slow progress, the doubts. Mastery is a long game. You have to be willing to grind for years, sometimes without seeing major progress. You have to be willing to put in the work with no guarantees. You have to trust the process, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Because one day, if you stay consistent, everything will come together. One day, all those hours, all that effort, all that sacrifice will pay off. And when it does, People will call you lucky. They'll say you were born with it, but you know the truth. You earned it. So don't quit. Don't give up because it's taking longer than you expected. Stay patient, stay committed, and keep putting in the work because mastery is not given, it is earned. Most people want success, but they don't want the process that comes with it. They want to be masters, but they don't want to endure the journey. And that's why so many people never reach their full potential because they don't understand that mastery isn't a gift, it's a grind. It's the relentless pursuit of improvement, the willingness to do the hard things over and over again until they become effortless. People love the idea of greatness, but they hate the reality of discipline. They want the rewards, but they don't want to sacrifice. They want to be recognized, but they don't want to be uncomfortable. But let me tell you something. The road to mastery is paved with discomfort. It's filled with setbacks, failures, and days where you question if you're even making progress. But that's exactly why so few people reach the highest level, because most people don't have the endurance to push through the struggle. A lot of people talk about success, but very few people actually put in the work to achieve it. They say they want to be great, but their actions don't match their words. They scroll through motivational videos looking for inspiration, but when it comes time to actually do the work, they make excuses. You can't cheat the process. You can't shortcut mastery. You can't fake the work. Either you put in the time or you don't. Either you show up every day and grind or you don't. There's no in between. So the question is, are you willing to put in the hours when no one is watching? Are you willing to wake up early or stay up later and do the things that most people won't? Because that's what separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. The world doesn't care about what you say you're going to do. It only recognizes what you actually do. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Get to work because no one is going to hand you mastery. You have to take it. Some people think that just because they're struggling, it means they're not meant for this. They think that if something is difficult, it's a sign to quit. But that's the wrong mindset. Struggle is part of the process. Difficulty is the price of entry. If this were easy, everyone would be a master. If this were simple, everyone would be elite. But it's not. It's hard. And it's supposed to be because the struggle is what separates the ones who deserve it from the ones who don't. Every time you push through frustration, every time you refuse to quit, every time you keep going when others stop, that's another step toward mastery. That's another level of skill, another lesson learned, another ounce of strength gained. The process is supposed to break you down before it builds you up. It's supposed to test you to see if you're really about this life. Because the truth is, most people won't make it. Most people will quit. But if you can keep going, if you can embrace the grind, lean into the struggle, and trust that your time will come, then there's nothing that can stop you. The path to mastery isn't straight. It's filled with setbacks, roadblocks, and moments where you have to completely reinvent yourself. The person you are today isn't the person who will achieve mastery. You have to grow. You have to evolve. You have to be willing to change, to adapt, to become something greater than you were yesterday. Because mastery isn't about doing the same thing forever. It's about leveling up. It's about taking what you've learned, refining it, and then pushing beyond it. It's about never getting comfortable, never settling, never thinking you've made it. The moment you stop learning, the moment you stop improving is the moment you start falling behind. So never get complacent, never think you're too good to grow, because the best in the world never stop learning. The greatest of all time never stop working. At the end of the day, you have to make a choice. Either you commit to mastery fully or you don't. Either you go all in or you walk away. Because half effort won't get you there. 1 foot in, 1 foot out won't get you there. You have to decide right now, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to endure? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to reach the top? Because if you're not, then be honest with yourself. Stop wasting time. But if you are, if you truly want this, if you're truly willing to sacrifice for this, then stop talking and start doing. Because mastery isn't given, it's earned, and only those who are willing to fight for it will ever achieve it. Most people operate based on feelings. They show up when they're motivated. They give their best effort when they feel like it. But that's why they never get anywhere, because motivation fades. inspiration wears off. And when it does, they stop showing up. They stop working. They start making excuses. Mastery requires discipline. It requires you to show up even when you don't feel like it. It requires you to work when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're uninspired. Because if you only move when you feel good, you will never finish anything. You have to train yourself to move despite how you feel. You have to show up even when you're not in the mood. You have to put in the work even when nobody is watching, even when the results aren't coming fast enough, because consistency is what builds greatness, not emotions. The game is always changing. The people at the top, they're not the same people who were at the top 10 years ago. Why? Because some of them got comfortable. Some of them stopped evolving. Some of them thought they had already made it and they got left behind. Mastery requires adaptation. It requires constant learning, constant improvement, constant reinvention. If you want to stay on top, you can't just rely on what you already know. You have to keep growing. You have to stay hungry, because the moment you stop learning is the moment someone else starts catching up. So ask yourself, are you willing to stay a student? Are you willing to unlearn and relearn? Are you willing to challenge yourself even when you think you're already good? Because if not, you're going to be replaced by someone who is. One of the hardest lessons you have to learn is that nobody cares about your effort until you produce results. Nobody's going to applaud you for waking up early. Nobody's going to praise you for putting in extra hours. People don't care about your struggle. They care about what you produce. You have to understand this early so you don't waste time seeking validation. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. That means you have to stay locked in, focused, committed to the process, even when no one is cheering for you. Because once you succeed, the same people who ignored you will start paying attention. The same people who doubted you will start asking how you did it. But until then, stop expecting recognition. Just work, just grind, just build yourself into something undeniable.